That being said, I am Srini Pendyala, and I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. And I work as a senior cloud partner solutions architect here at Redis. I come with about 25 plus years of experience in developing and architecting enterprise applications. Traditionally, it was in Java in 20 years back, and then I shifted gears, did some amount of front end application development, then again shifted gears, did mobile application development, wrote a lot of API, APIs, and then did the API management, and stumbled into this big data solutions on Hadoop while I was working at Cloudera. And then contributed in the areas of data engineering and analytics and machine learning space too there. So pretty much I've done in the last 2 decades, everything from front end to back end to everything. That's pretty much what I've been doing. And at Redis, I focus exclusively delivering real-time experiences for our customers. Redis actually has a strategic partnership with AWS and with AWS Global Infrastructure and Redis ultra-fast, low-latency, highly available database-as-a-service offering. Both the companies, we are actually committed to delivering best-in-class solutions for our customers. So I'd like to once again thank you all for your attention, and let's actually get into the details of the presentation today. The agenda is pretty simple. We're going to talk about what Redis is, but those of you if you're not really familiar with, we're going to talk about some of the common use cases. We're going to discuss some technology part, but more importantly, I'll show things in action as a part of my product demo, and then we'll conclude. So with that being said, right, let me quickly take a step back and talk about Redis. Redis Inc., the company, is the home of Redis open source software. And it's also the home for the commercial version of the software called Redis Enterprise Software and Redis Enterprise Cloud. Now, Redis is actually at the very foundation, is a in-memory, NoSQL database, like Ron was already mentioning, highly used as a distributed cache in many architectures. It's an in-memory key value store, it's a message broker, and many things more. But of late, believe it or not, and I was surprised when I joined Redis 2 years back too, right? I have started seeing this pattern of many of our customers actually using Redis as a primary database beyond the core functionality that it offers. And let's actually get into those details. Like I said, we are ubiquitous across all the 3 major hypervisors, and we have an exclusive strategic partnership with AWS too. This means both AWS and Redis jointly are ready to serve our customers to reap the maximum benefits on their cloud investments. And here is a list of the customers who are leveraging Redis Enterprise Cloud in really powering their high performance applications. Now, the common challenge across all these customers is basically handling latency. Nowadays, they're actually saying latency is the new outage. I repeat it, latency is the new outage. What that means is we actually cannot afford ruining end user experience at the cost of high latencies in driving omni-channel experiences, these digital experiences for our end customers. And most of these customers were challenged with some sort of the poor application performance due to the application modularity and infrastructure complexity, and so on and so forth. So it is for this reason, the speed of the data layer, the persistence layer is a super critical, which is actually the common horizontal layer across all the applications is hyper critical when it comes to driving real-time experiences for our end users. And to that end, that's where Redis actually fits the bill. Now let's actually look at some of the common use cases here. Like Ron was already mentioning, right? Caching, distributed cache is a famous example for which Redis is highly known for. When you're developing enterprise scale applications, you also absolutely need enterprise caching too. Now, enterprise caching provides sub-millisecond responses while processing phenomenally high volumes of data. And the data can actually span across multiple different geographical locations and deployment environments. Now, Redis is, as Ron was already mentioning, is the most popular distributed caching engine that truly offers this enterprise scale enterprise caching that actually includes enterprise grade functionality to ensure modern applications can actually linearly scale without performance degradation. Let's actually look at, for example, financial services industry. Now, this is a very high demanding industry, right? In terms of like, financial services customers demand real-time experiences for services like contactless payments, mobile banking, credit decisions, fraud detection, and many more. And Redis Enterprise Cloud, I commend our humility in saying this, that, it's actually helping some of these financial institutions digitizing their businesses to remain competitive. Now, to provide services at the pace of the customers, how the customers are demanding, these financial institutions are modernizing every part of their IT infrastructure, including the data layer. And I think the subsequent talk is also about application modernization. Probably, it will be covered more on that area. But, Redis Enterprise Cloud, at the end of the day, acts as one of the fundamental building blocks at the data layer in modernizing these applications. Let's also look at retail industry, for example. When it comes to these retailers, it's absolutely critical to drive real-time user experiences for use cases, such as, managing product catalogs, shopping carts, checking out and payment experience, and other omni-channel digital experiences for these end users. For example, let's take session management. Session management is super critical for the retailers. Basically, session state is nothing but an information about each user's interaction with the application while they're actually using it, such that what kind of products they search for, right? What kind of items they put it on their shopping cart, and so on and so forth. Now, to maintain this session state, the application needs to actually frequently read and write information without impacting the end user experience. And the speed of each of these operations also is super critical, and there should not be absolutely no room for data loss, right? So users don't want to see their shopping cart, for example, being lost, or forget their system forgetting the shipping address that they just entered, right? So in these scenarios, Redis Enterprise low latency read and write operations, coupled with multiple data persistent options, are essential to maintaining the session state while it's highly available, while its multiple data models enabled use cases are still, serving the purpose of the customer. So that's the typical story with retailers. Now, in the gaming industry too, right? Again, caching is absolutely core use case for Redis, and it's already known for, and I think we've discussed enough on that. Because caching actually plays a very important role in improvising the gameplay responsiveness, the login and authentication experience, the user profiling, the user login, session store, session IDs, maintaining that session while maintaining the game state while the gamers are playing. And it will improve performance and reduce the load on your primary database, and if you employ Redis as a distributed cache in those situations. Now, for better player engagement experiences, for example, leaderboard is a super critical, right? Now, to build a leaderboard, you could directly, right out of the box, you can leverage sorted set data type, which directly gets you leaderboard functionality without much having to do with any coding. Or, for example, for player session unique IDs, you could employ Redis fundamental data structure called hash data structures, right? Now, speaking of which, like I already mentioned in the beginning, I have started seeing Redis also being adopted by some of our customers as the primary data store itself for better, player engagement beyond just caching. Gaming features such as matchmaking, personalization, analytics, all of these things require a primary data store that can actually store and retrieve the data in real time, and that is becoming highly adopted by our customers. And I'm going to give some resources that actually you could see things in action itself. Now, with that being said about all the use cases of how Redis is being used, let's quickly shift gears and talk about the technology itself. So at the very core, on the left-hand side of the screen, you are seeing the fundamental data structures that form the building blocks of crafting the mission-critical business applications that actually serve specific use cases like fraud detection, forecasting, and all that stuff. And on the right-hand side, what you see is what we call as Redis modules, and these are available in Redis Enterprise Cloud. And basically, these modules provide a way to plug in new data types, which actually support extended use cases such as search, graphing, time series, data processing, and so on and so forth. And finally, at the bottom, you actually see the Redis Enterprise differentiators itself, the proprietary extensions to enhance the manageability, the scalability, and high availability of Redis in-memory database. And all of this come together to solve customer pain points and use cases such as fraud detection, real-time inventory forecasting, leaderboards, caching, session management, and so on and so forth. Now, here are a few reasons why customers are really liking and loving Redis Enterprise Cloud. And one of the primary one being the Redis Enterprise has a feature called active-active geo-distributed database. An active-active architecture is basically a data resiliency architecture. And it basically distributes the database information over multiple data centers via independent or geographically distributed clusters and nodes. And this offers basically three benefits. Number one, it offers local latency on the read and write operations, regardless of the number of the geo-replicated regions and their distance between each one of them, right? Number two, it enables seamless conflict resolution for simple and complex data types that you may have. And number three, of course, it offers business continuity, because even if most of these geo-replicated regions in a typical database, for example, let's say 3 out of 5 are down, completely down, crashed, the remaining geo-replicated regions are uninterrupted and can actually still offer the business, continuity for your databases. So, in addition to all these active features that actually enables 5 nines of availability, Redis Enterprise Cloud on AWS also has other great benefits like enabling customers for hybrid or multi-cloud deployments, unified multi-data models under one single database, with Redis modules, and ultra low latency features at scale. So these are the benefits that you get from Redis Enterprise Cloud. Now let's actually get into a product demo here real quick. I want to show things in action. So let's get started here. Oops. In this product demo, I will showcase how easy it is to deploy a fully managed database as a service with Redis Enterprise Cloud on AWS. We are going to start with AWS Web Console, and we are going to search for Redis Enterprise Cloud and then click on the marketplace link here. That will yield our Redis Enterprise Cloud listings. You have an annual commit and a pay-as-you-go listing here. I will choose pay-as-you-go for now for this demonstration purpose. When I click on the View Purchase options, that brings me to this screen. On the top banner, you will see a link to the Set Up Your Account, which will take you to the Redis Web Console. Now, this Redis Web Console is basically a single pane of glass to manage all of your Redis Enterprise Cloud deployments. I will go ahead and log in using my credentials, which in this case is configured as a single sign-on using Okta. Once I log in, I can click on the New Subscription button on the left-hand navigation bar. This will bring me to the subscription options page as seen here. I'm going to choose flexible plan and select AWS as my cloud service provider. I will choose a specific region. I want to deploy my Redis Enterprise Cloud cluster on AWS. I'll give this subscription a name. Then I will choose multi-AZ option as yes to deploy my Redis cluster with replication features spanning across multiple AZs for automatic failover with fault tolerance. I'll choose a new VPC here, and I'll define a CIDR for my new VPC. Then I'll click continue. Now that brings me to this databases screen. Here is where I will configure my databases. I'll go ahead and give my first database that I'm going to configure a name. I can select the throughput and also the memory footprint in gigabytes. And then I'll click Save Database. That brings me back to the database screen here again. Let me add another database exclusively purpose-built for my search use case. In this case, I'm going to install a Redis module called Redis Search 2 and Redis JSON. Now, this combination of these two modules gives me the ability to build a document-based database along with the ability to do search over these JSON objects or JSON documents that I'll be storing in this database. So far, I have two databases and I can edit these database design configurations and change any configuration parameters such as memory footprint, etc. Let me go ahead and add another third database for my time series based analytics. I will define the throughput as 5000 and a memory footprint of 15 gigabytes. And of course, I will select the install Redis time series module for this database. Here you go. I have all the three purpose-built databases to deploy onto my Redis Enterprise cluster. One database for generic caching use case, one for document-based database, and another one that is for persisting time series data. So in total, I have three purpose-built databases on my Redis cluster. Now, if I click continue, that takes me to the review page. Here I can see a summary of all of my databases configured, the cloud resources required to spin this Redis cluster, which includes the instance type and EBS volume required for the databases, and a breakdown of Redis shards that are going to be spinned for this configuration, along with the quantity and the pricing details. Finally, you will see a subscription price per hour or month, and when you hit the continue button, it will start provisioning your subscription as a Redis Enterprise Cloud cluster running on global infrastructure provided by AWS. I'm going to hit the cancel button here for the sake because I already pre-provisioned many other databases, and it navigates you back to the main home screen where you can see all of these provisioned subscriptions. So it is that easy to provision Redis Enterprise Cloud based database as a service on AWS. You can completely automate everything that I showcased here with Terraform Redis Enterprise Cloud Provider, or you can develop your own custom scripting using the REST APIs that Redis Enterprise Cloud provides. So that is what it takes to build a Redis Enterprise Cloud based database as a service in the cloud on AWS. Thank you so much. So there you go, sir. That's the demo. And I do have for those of you who are really technical and wouldn't mind getting your hands super dirty, I have this great example on fraud detection. I mean, fraud detection is applicable for multiple vertical industries, but I have a financial services one here. But you can pretty much take this code from here and then reuse it if you want to. But to really get a feel for all of this in action, there's a reference architecture here, and then there's a Git repo. I can actually paste those links in the Q&A after this call, or I can pass it to Ron, and he can actually ensure that he could get those links for you guys. Hey,
Srinivas, why don't you do this? We're going to have these slides available for downloading.
Okay.
You could, on the end slide, make sure those are live links added to the presentation slides. That way, when people download the content, it'll be in one place.
Absolutely, sir. In fact, I actually did it. So that's great. So if you pass those slides, that'll be amazing. Yes, perfect.
Got it. So again, everyone out there, to repeat what I said earlier, all the slides are available off the AngelBeat webpage. Pretty simple. Just click on the link. You'll see content available, PDF downloads for AWS, also quite honestly for Microsoft and Google, and then for other technology vendors. Plus, if you go to the AngelBeat YouTube channel, youtube.com/AngelBeat, #AngelBeat, probably over the weekend and definitely by Monday, we'll have all these individual presentations available for on-demand viewing.
Perfect, sir. So with that, I would like to, with your permission, Ron, I'd like to, run one or two slides and then quickly wrap this up, if that is okay.
That's perfect timing.
Perfect, sir. So just want to again reiterate that the Redis Enterprise Cloud is actually available on AWS Marketplace, like I showed in the demo. And there are two options, pay as you go as well as annual commits. And if you actually procure Redis Enterprise Cloud on AWS Marketplace, some customers can actually burn down their existing committed EDP credits towards Redis Enterprise Cloud too. And plus, customers actually benefit from simplified, consolidated billing and combining their existing billing with Redis Enterprise Cloud billing too. So with that, here is what Redis Enterprise Cloud and AWS and value prop for the customers. In short, customers love these technologies for 5 nines of availability, active geo replications, flexibility of deployments if you have hybrid or multi-cloud strategies, a very attractive TCO with Redis on Flash, and then you can actually bring multi-data models like Redis Search, JSON, Graph, time series, Bloom filters, AI. You can bring a lot of these data structures under one single database with Redis Enterprise Cloud. So with that being said, here are the list of all the resources. Like Ron was mentioning, he's going to make these things available for you all. Please feel free to download, try it for free. Download, get your hands dirty on the fraud detection thing. It's an absolute beautiful piece. You can see things in AWS on how these two technologies come together to solve a specific customer problems. With that, I'd like to once again express my gratitude to each and every one of you. And Ron, thank you so much for this opportunity, sir. And I look forward to speak in future again at AngelBit. Thank you.